Welcome back to our video fly tying series. I'm Steve Worley, owner of the Worley Bugger Fly Company, and today I'm going to show you how to tie the Northern Pike fly called the ham sandwich. So this fly originated well over 20 years ago in Butte, Montana by a family friend of ours. His name was Bruce Robinson, and he used to travel to northern Canada to fish for these big apex predators with flies. And he showed this fly to my dad. My dad, Bob Worley, he took it and made a few tweaks to it and kind of made it his own little pattern. And over the last 20 years, I've been fortunate enough to fish it all over Saskatchewan and Alberta, taking it to Alaska and Wisconsin. And I've even had a lot of luck here in Washington State fishing it for northern. So the ham sandwich, just where other flies have failed to produce big northern pike, this one always delivers. It's a really, really fun fly to fish and really fun to tie up. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so let's get started here with the ham sandwich. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is select a really good iron. Like, you cannot scrimp on your hook. So whenever you're fishing for muskies or northern pike, they have really, really super hard cartilage in their mouth, especially the bigger that they get. It's kind of the same principle with any fish. The older the fish gets, the harder the cartilage gets in its mouth. So you want a really good sharp hook that's going to set into that cartilage and that bone and hold. You know, and sometimes even the, you know, when you're into 20+ pound fish, 25 pound, which we have been in Canada, sometimes even the best irons won't hold them. I've had 25-30 pound pike on, and you know, for 5-10 minutes and had them spit the hook out. So there's a few companies now that are building really, really good predator style hooks, and Arex is one of them. So this is a really good, not a super heavy wire hook. The Predator, the PR330, really good apex predator hook. Heavy enough to hold big fish, and super sharp. Not a really thick steel, so you know, it'll settle in, go into that hard cartilage, and hold really well. So really good hooks. Partridge makes a few good predator style hooks as well. A lot of companies making really good trout hooks. Not a lot of companies making really good predator style hooks. Arex and Partridge both making really good steel for these big apex predators. So put your hook in your vise and we'll get started here. Okay, so I've loaded a couple of bobbins here because I'll use a couple of different colors. Today I'm going to show you how to tie an orange and black version of the ham sandwich. Like I said in the beginning of the intro, you can tie this in whatever color you want. So I really like to use the gel spun threads when I'm building bigger, heavier duty flies. You can really pull on it. So gel spun, GSP, you know, it's super strong. It binds, you know, heavy working materials, you know, to the hook really well. So you're gonna want to lay down a you know, a good thread base on your iron, work it all the way back to the back of the bend there, and then you can stop. Okay, so the first material that we're going to apply are going to be our feathers. And feathers really are crucial with this. You want to select. You can use strung rooster, which is what these are. They're pretty inexpensive. You can buy a pack for 10 bucks or so. you know, or you can use a, you know, a full, you know, rooster saddle, but has, you know, has long, big, wide feathers like this. But you kind of have to be picky and choosy, you know, with the strung stuff, because you can get, you know, you can get feathers like this that are, you know, kind of beat up from these, you know, from these chickens. So just select the ones that are in really good shape and that are somewhere in length, you know, between 4 and 6 inches long. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're just going to strip all that phyllo plume off and expose the stems. And when you tie these in, you want them V-shaped like this, back to back, so they will move like crazy in the water. So the first thing that you're going to do is just lay the stems up on top of the hook and bind those down really well. Okay, so after you got those connected, I'm going to take 2 more, tied the same way. You're going to lay them along the side. Make sure you capture the stem. And you can have them all prepared ahead of time. It only takes a second to do it. But again, now along the opposite side, tie those in really good. And then what I like to do is I like to add another color in there. So we're going to take a couple of black ones. And it kind of adds a little more contrast to it. We'll tie 2 up on top. Especially when you're stripping it through the water. And this is a really light fly to cast too, so it's for a larger fly, it's pretty easy to fish. We'll get those tied in. Pull hard on those. Half hitch them in. And then you should be able to really pull on those and see that they're not going anywhere. Okay, so once we get that all connected, chop off my GSP, and we'll take our orange, fluorescent orange, UTC. GSP used to come in colors, but it's been really difficult to get for the last few years, so we'll just attach this and just like to color in this butt a little bit. UTC is flat, so it doesn't take a lot of thread. And just to give us a rounder body, we're going to start the fly about right here, about ½ an inch from the bend of the hook. Before we do that, we're going to take about 6 or 8 strands of Flashaboo, and again color to match. This is grizzly orange. I'll just wet those, get them even. It's a little bit easier to work with. They're gripped together there with your saliva. We'll run them back. And take and run them down the other side. And you can see the loop that it's formed in the back, then you just chop that. And then you got the Flashaboo evenly spaced throughout the tail. That's going to add some flash to it, and then again more movement. The apex predators, you know, really, yeah, visual, feed off their lateral line, strike. But yeah, also, you know, movement is crucial with your fly. Get them to move to it. See how hard I'm pulling on that. So you should be able to pull on those like that, not have any of it pull out. Okay, so we're going to start forming the body. This is a really pretty cool type of chenille. It's called body fur. It's also game changer chenille you can use, which is really similar if you cut it down the middle. But I prefer this body fur material. And again, whatever color you're going to tie your fly with, we're going to start with the main color, which we're tying in orange and black. So we're going to start with the orange, and we'll just trim a few of those fibers out, and we'll expose that stem there, and we'll just lay it. And we're going to start the fly about a ½ inch from the bend. Take our piece of body fur, and we'll mount that. And then move your thread forward to where you want it to stop, and where we're going to tie in our other color. So the first thing that you want to do is kind of this is a different form of chenille, so you want to make sure that it's all kind of laying flat and it's all forming and going the same direction. Like so. And then we'll take and we'll start moving it forward, one wrap tightly in front of the other. And you'll see your body starting to form. You can pull the fibers back to get them so you don't trap anything there. Pull them back out of the way. And then when you get to your thread point there, we're going to want to make sure that we capture that tightly. Try not to capture those fibers. Keep the fly less bulky. Make a few thread wraps around there, capturing it really well. And then you can cut that out. And we'll pull it all back. make a half hitch. Then you can take your brush, kind of brush these fibers back. It's gonna help when we, at the end of the fly, when we go to trim everything, give it its shape. Okay, so again, we're gonna take our other color with body fur, and we're gonna attach it. It's gonna give us a little bit more contrast to the body. We'll bind that down nice and tight, and again, we want to make sure that all the fibers are going the same direction. And you wrap this whichever way the fibers are laying back on itself. So usually I like to make about 6 wraps with the other color. That's usually enough material to add a good contrast of color to the body. So again, we'll trap that on both sides. Real well. A few more wraps there, just so it's bound nice and tight. And put a half hitch in, and then we'll again take and brush this back a little bit. So we're going to take and we're going to attach our main color body piece again to finish off the front of the fly. And again, we're going to expose that chenille string in there and bind it to the shank real well. Okay, so once we get that in place, the new piece of body fur, then we're going to take this new product here. This is new to the ham sandwich. Before, we used to just affix the eyes to the outside of the body with super glue, and you know, not really super durable way of doing it. They finally have come up with this great idea of fold over eyes that are adhesive on one side. Gonna make this fly a lot more durable. So what you do, you find about the middle of that, and cut them. Then you're going to lay them in next to the shank here. You're going to bind in one side, and then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Eyes are really, really super important on predator style flies. Anybody that fishes for predator, apex predator fish will tell you that eyes on a fly are extremely important. Fish like this, they're not scavengers. They want to eat their food. They want to kill it. So you gotta figure out which way you gotta wrap it so it lays correctly. So this is gonna be counterwound. It's just laying back across the body the way that we want it to. Just each wrap, just pull forward, pull those fibers back out of the way. Just keep working towards the eye. And again, we're just going to take and we're going to bind the cord down. Make several wraps until you feel that it's bound in place well. And then cut out that excess. And again, we'll take our brush and comb these fibers out. Step is we'll pull our fold over eyes, plastic tabs, we'll just pull those forward. I'm not too worried about the adhesive part of it. And then we'll just make some thread wraps in front there, because we got a little bit more work to do to this fly before it's completed. So we'll just build a little thread head on there. And then you can whip finish or half hitch like I like to do. A few turns and then. So our next steps, we're going to be trimming the body. You can see how when we're building the body, it starts to kind of crowd a little bit of the bend and the point here. We're gonna take and we're gonna mold and we're gonna shape the body into more of a round bait fish looking pattern. So that'll be our next step that we do. Okay, so for this next step, you're gonna need a really good sharp pair of scissors in order to, to cut through this body fur material to shape the body. So I kind of want to start on the bottom here and just a little bit at a time just kind of start trimming. Okay, so after you have your body all formed, it's nice and round. But see how you can see how we've exposed more of that bend there and the point. So now we have a good set of steel there for hooking ability, and maintaining, keeping that fish on the line. We're going to set our eyes in place here. And we're going to use a couple of different types of glue. We're going to use a UV glue, and then we're going to use a super glue. So the first thing I like to do with these, fold over eyes, and the nice thing about them is being clear to make this fly a lot more durable. You can pull that flap up, and on the back side of it just run some Solarez UV glue, and grab your torch and lay that in place, and just blast it with your torch and it's in place. That's going to glue it to the side there of the body of our fly and make it a lot more durable. Okay, so now we have, instead of just binding and gluing the eye to the side of the body, now we have actually a foundation here that we can affix an eye to. It's going to make this a lot more durable. I'm not going to lose the eyes to a big Northern Pike. So you're just going to take a little bit of super glue and just make a little dot there, and then take your stick-on eye and just drop that right into place. Just push it down so it adheres. Blow on it a little bit. That'll speed up the drying process. And then you're going to want to do the same thing on the opposite side. Okay, so now that our eyes are affixed, glued in place, we're just going to do one last little step here, just for a little bit more added durability. You know, when you're fishing for pike, you know, fish with lots of teeth, they can chew up flies pretty well, pretty easily, especially big pike. So we're going to take a little bit of UV glue and we're just going to run it right over the top of the eye here. Put a coat on it. That's where these fold over eyes are really nice. So just more durability to our fly. Torch it with your light. That's just going to prolong the life of our fly. Keep those eyes in place as long as possible. Dry. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. And then one last little step here is we'll just coat the head to protect our thread. So make sure you don't get it in the eye of the hook. Torch that. There you go. There is the ham sandwich, an absolutely terrific pike muskie apex predator fly. Catches lots and lots of fish. Super fun to fish, super fun to tie up. Thanks for watching.